Now we would like to welcome the next presenter, Mr. Hirota from CEC. He is an engineer using Ruby, JavaScript, C# to develop systems for the manufacturing customers. He is also a member of the OSS, Japan OSS Promotion Forum, and joining study groups. And during his weekend, he has programming classes provided to the children at his local city of Makinohara. Today, he is going to talk under the title, Tried to Start Programming Classes for Children in a Small Town. Nice to meet you all. My name is Hirota. At this Ruby World Conference, such a worldwide conference, I am going to talk about a small town in Japan. So I'm not sure this is appropriate to be talked in the world conference. However, I hope you can learn something from my talk. And if someone will be encouraged to do some kind of educational activities as I do, that would be very good. So today I'm going to talk about educational activities during my weekend, so it's not related to my job. As the Master of Ceremony, Ms. Ishihara, mentioned, I started to provide programming classes to children and their parents in my local city of Makinohara. That's where I live now. To start such kind of activities is something first for me because I'm just a corporate worker and I want to share what I did one by one until the class is provided. So firstly, I'll talk about what I do on weekdays, and then I talk about the Makinohara city and what were my motivation and concerns at the beginning. That's agenda for my talk. So what I do on weekdays. So I just briefly talk about my business. I am employee working at the system integrator called CIC. I used to work as a system infra engineer. This company was founded in 1968, so it has long history. And I am in the industry automation business segment under CEC. And I'm in Smart Factory System Division. And in addition to my work at the CIC, like Hitachi Solutions, Mr. Miyoshi, and Mr. Hara from Fujitsu, I am a member of the same organization, Japan OSS Promotion Forum. Now, what is Makinohara City? It's a small city in Shizuoka Prefecture with a population of 46,000. In 2005, former two towns are merged into Makinohara City. Original towns are Sagara Town and Haibara Town. In that Haibara Town, it's famous for the Japanese largest tea plantation called Makinohara Tea Plantation in this picture. So it's only 3 minutes walk from my house. And if you Google Makinohara, you will find this page on the right side. You see the picture of the large plantation of tea leaves. So people culturing persimmon or potato, we have local festivals. And here's a picture of my daughters at the middle bottom. So it's another countryside town. And why I was motivated to provide programming classes in such a small town. As you know, through the media, there is a talk about making programming as a compulsory education by 2020, so it's drawing attention in the world, not only in Japan. So I wanted to teach my daughters about programming, but looking around and looking for the classes available. There are corporations and organizations providing programming classes, but mainly in the urban area, not in the rural area like Makinohara. So I thought, why not start by myself? If I'm going to teach my daughters, why don't I teach other children in the same city? That's my original motivation. Although I wanted to start teaching, but I was just a corporate worker. I have never involved in education, so there are so many concerns. So there are many questions I have to answer. What to teach? How to teach? How can I manage the operation? How I can advertise? Where I can teach? First of all, are there kids who would like to join? So those are the concerns I felt at the very beginning. That was around the end of 2014, 2 years ago. So I faced so many questions, and I started asking questions to others. In Rubik World Conference 2014, there was a speaker, Mr. Koji Takao. He talked under the theme Ruby Programming Youth Club. I've heard that he was going to join Hamamatsu Ruby Kaigi in 2014, so I talked to them in that conference. And last year, Ruby World Conference 2014, Mr. Yasukawa from Koda Dojo was there, and also I had the class reunion from the elementary school. I had a chance to talk to my teacher from elementary school, and also visited offices of the city government, or talked to parents in the local city with kids at the same age as my daughters. So I have many people to ask questions very candidly. After that, they are so kind and provided suggestions and advice to me. So I started to think that I might be able to do. Then I started thinking about what to teach and how to teach. Around that time, I joined the Ruby World Conference 2014 and had a chance to listen to Ms. Linda Locos. She was a presenter last year. You may remember that was a wonderful presentation. If you didn't listen to her, please access YouTube to listen to her. Here's her picture. So I was so much inspired by her presentation, and I thought teaching, programming, and the computer to kids are such a wonderful thing. So I was determined to do. In this way, there may be many different approaches, but I decided to start with Scratch, programming by Scratch. And as Takao-san does, we move to small Ruby so that we can use blocks for programming and then move on to Ruby. To learn about Scratch, there is a writer or a professor named Abe, who wrote a book titled Wakupuro, formerly called Introductory Exciting Programming for School Kids. And also there is Hello Ruby contents available on the website from Linda Lucas. It's very fun to play with, so that the kids can learn about the principle of the computer by using the contents. If you go to Hello Ruby, there's no programming code, but it's very fun, enjoyable. So next question is about the operation and advertisement of my programming class. So in the rural area like my neighborhood, people living there are not using internet to look for the local information, like the publication from the city government or the posters on the bulletin board are the source of the information for the local events. And the credibility on the information from or the events from the city government is high. However, they do not trust unknown organization to them. So it's rather closed community, and they are not very open to the organization they do not know or the strangers. In case of the Koda Dojo, they provide classes free of charge. However, in Japan, we do not have the culture of donation, so it is a bit difficult to provide classes free of charge. And of course, to rent a room at the venue, we have to pay for the charge. So providing classes for free is difficult. And as you see at the top right, when you are going to hold the event in rural small city, it is important to have exchange with the local residents by joining a small gathering of the parent and the teacher association or the town festivals. It's very important to get familiar with the people in the town. So I think this kind of exchange will help. So those are some of the challenges. And I came to know about the available system in Haibara town, and they have the lifelong learning classes called Harihara Juku, and they have the demonstration day in February. And if I attend that, there are many participants. And I learned that this kind of school called Harihara Juku is well accepted. And there are some conditions. The classes has to be held regularly throughout the year. And one class charge is 500 yen. And the length of the class is 90 minutes or more. And the class has to have at least 4 students. No other criteria to start classes. So I thought this is a good opportunity. And once I can meet all of the conditions, then information about my class will be on the flyer to be distributed to all the household in the city. So I decided to utilize this system. Next question is the venue. I have to decide the venue. But as you remember, the picture with the tea plantation, it's very rural area, so there's no such thing like the optical fiber communication that will be available in 2017. And we have a community center without access via internet or Wi-Fi. So I don't think community center is the right place. So I contacted city government, and they informed me that in the Haibara Culture Center, they have Wi-Fi connection. In that cultural center at the meeting room 2, there's only one room in the cultural center with Wi-Fi communication. So in rural area like Haibara, such kind of communication technology is limited. And if my class is provided under the scheme of Harihara Juku at the Haibara Cultural Center, I can rent a computer. And the charge for a room for a class is around 700 yen, although it varies on different seasons. So if I have at least 2 students, the 700 yen of the room charge can be covered. So that's the venue. Next question is whether children will be interested in joining the programming class or not. So I had a trial lesson to my daughters. I bought a textbook and tried to program with my daughters. My daughter at that time was 3rd grader at the elementary school, and we referred to the book called Waku Puro, Exciting Programming for Kids. But the information on that book is many blocks of the scratch, so it was rather confusing, and it was difficult for us to understand the tips for learning, for planning. And then we used Hello Ruby from Linda Lucas. In English is only available back then, but I translated that into Japanese, and my daughters liked Hello Ruby when I read them. And also we joined Koda Dojo Hamamatsu, and they had the lesson using our code. By using our code, animation character is used, or the Fluffy Bird, Minecraft. Those familiar characters are used for the hour of code, and also the number of blocks used for the programming is smaller, so it was easier for the beginners to get familiar with. So in a very short period of time, my daughters get used to program. And once they understand how to, they start doing very proactively. And I thought this way will work for other kids as well. But the city is very small with the population of 46,000. And the minimum participant criteria for the Harajuku is to have 4 students, but I only had 3 applicants, and I couldn't meet the criteria to open the class. So I contacted secretariat, and the answer is this: you can contact the applicants, and if they are still interested in your personal classes, you can open your own class outside of Harajuku scheme. So I thought it's good. I just contacted only 3 applicants, and 2 out of 3 said they would like to join my personal programming class, and I decided to open. Next, I want to talk about what I teach at my classes. Once the class is open, at the beginning, I had only 2 students. However, there are some referral from the 2 students, and also the 3rd applicant for the Harajuku class actually joined. And currently, I have 2 to 5 students. And the age of the student is around the age of the 5th to 6th graders. So based on the age of the student and also the feedback from my daughters from the trial class, I decided how to hold the classes. The time is 2 hours, twice a month, and I decided to use hour of code at the beginning. And also, I decided to use another book called Start Programming with Scratch instead of Workpro. And contents from the Hello Ruby is used to teach about computer science. And the development project going forward will be something greater or bigger than the example in the textbook. And I decided to start with small Ruby and move on to Ruby. That's the overview of the classes, and this is the actual contents of the class I provided. For the initial 4 months or so, these are the contents. For the initial 2 classes, hour of code is used to get them familiar with the programming, because limited number of the blocks are used for programming, so it's easy to get to familiarize them. And students started to enjoy. And then we moved to Scratch. Originally, I planned to use Workpro as a textbook, Introductory Exciting Programming for Elementary School Kids. However, I decided to use another book called Start Programming with Scratch, because students can use this textbook as a reference outside of the classes. The actual learning speed of the kids was much faster than I expected. So during the first 4 months or so, they mastered basics. And during those first 4 months, at the beginning 30 minutes of the classes, I covered those topics like Hello Ruby, what is a computer, or my first computer. Under what is a computer, we talked about the different occasions of the usage of the computer. There are pictures of dog, and I asked, is there a computer within a dog? But there is a robot dog like Baolingo. Do you remember that? So there can be a dog with computer inside. And if there is a picture of a car, actually automobile is full of computers. And under my first computer, it's a paper-based computer, and they can cut into the shape and building computer by using scissors and glue. And if we refer to the chapter 10 of the Start Programming with Scratch, there is actual cases of the usage of the Scratch at the universities like the Harvard and California University, Berkeley. So they are very much stimulated by learning that such a prestigious university are using Scratch as well. And I talked about the different languages like the von Neumann and also the machine language, advanced high-level computer languages, and how the computer behavior is decided only by using 1 and 0. So they learn about the wide world of computers. So I actually created material on my own. And on the following month, from August to October, we decided to have the development project, and we firstly had the brainstorming meeting. It's pretty commonly done in the business field, so they have a chance to do the same. And one of the students actually presented the result as a summertime research project to the elementary school, and I've heard that she won an award from that. And we now moving from small Scratch to small Ruby, but what kind of development is done is very important. So we have to think about something different from the one they developed using the Scratch. And I found the information about there is a competition called Small Ruby called CN competition, and we decided to use the theme picked up by the Small Ruby CN competition, and they are now developing a program to join the competition. So here is a summary. At the beginning there, I had so many concerns, but after get started, I felt it's easier than just concerning. So at the beginning, I said I had many questions, what to teach and how to teach, but I can ask questions to other people, and operation and advertisement. So the way of operation and advertisement may differ from the region, whether it's urban or rural. In rural area, city government or town government may have services, so please check them out. And thinking about the venue, please check out at the city government. And concerned about the number of participants, there may be a small number, but there should be some. And at the very last, conclusion, programming knowledge will be the must in the future children. And looking at a small town, in Shoji-san's presentation, IT engineer in Japan is like 800,000. However, it's 1 out of 2 million. So in our city, the number of programmers is very, very small. So the resource who can teach is limited. I am just an employee of the system integrator. However, looking at our local area, I am a very important resource to teach programming. In a small town, the number of potential students would be small, so it's not attractive for the corporations to hold classes. As a result, there would be very, very limited opportunity for the children living in a small town. It's very unfortunate for them. So if you live in a small town and you are an engineer, please help them to learn about programming. At the beginning, I had many concerns, but after getting started, it's going well. So please think about doing the similar thing. So this is a very small step of an engineer in a small town, and you can follow the suit. And thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you very much for the presentation. So people tend to think about own job and own children, but your idea is great that you have the classes for the children in the rural area. And your motivation, the source of motivation is the past Ruby World Conference. It's great. So to get started, even there is a concern, that's important. I hope you can spread this activity, and there are some hidden resources even in a small town, so please take this example for your reference to think about your activities. Now please show appreciation with big claps for Mr. Hirota. for his presentation.